All right, guys, we are back with another great episode of Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian Carter, and I got my co-host, as always, Hank, the Bass Geek. Welcome, brother.
What's up, guys? What is going on? Forgive the voice, it's still a little raspy, but we will power through.
There you go. It's 2023, everybody. Heck yes.
2023. It's just another day and I am closer to death, I think.
You only hear it here, Basscast Radio.
Shoot.
That's awesome, man. We're season is ready to roll. You know, Geek, I was sitting here looking at the schedule the other day, and I was actually on Instagram just flipping through, and I was like, cutoff is this weekend for tournaments. I'm like, God, already? And it was the Wild Wild West Series, guys. Fires up at the end of the month. Their first tournament in California. You guys know we've had Mr. May on a couple times, and some other anglers from the Wild Wild West Series.
Yep.
So it's like already, Geek. You know, we got Tennessee right now. What's going on, Tennessee, Geek? You know what's happening down that way. It's big old
man.
what?
Well, you know, the end of the month we get the big East Tennessee Fishing Show and Expo.
You right.
You know, we also get big shout out to my guys at Watson's Marine. They, end of January. I don't know the exact dates, but it's always either the end of January, 1st of February. They have an awesome open house with a ton of pros. And the Missile Man is normally one of the awesome guys that are down there too. So
awesome, dude.
You know,
I don't know if the Missile Man's coming this year. I asked him the other day what he's doing, and I think it's only a couple expos. He might be attending, but other than that, it's just a couple expos that he is actually putting up the booth. And this week, guys, is the Tennessee.
I think he just comes down and hangs out down there at Watson's. Does. Yeah.
This week's with the Buyers Weekend down in Tennessee.
Mm.
So our sponsors from Journey Outdoors are down there, and the kids took a cool little photo, and I was like, that's pretty. They're right there where we have the Bassmaster Classic, right there in the hallways and the areas we have all that. So it's fishing time. So
it is. I got to find a co-angler for the mountain division this year, because I do believe that's where I'm going to go. I don't even know if I'm going to have my boat in time.
Let's hope so.
If not, the old Triton, I'm just going to be like, she barely does 53 now, so I'm just going to be like, hang on, girl, we gonna get to point A soon.
All right, guys, so you heard it here first. He needs a co-angler.
Yeah, gotta have a co for my links for the BFL Mountain Division this year.
All right, you guys heard it right there. If you know someone that's interested, head on over and give them a shout out to Geek on Instagram and his social media. So, guys, excuse me too. Holy cow, guys! This past weekend, the Basscast.com had its first ever New Year's Day event. Want to thank everyone that came out and fished with us. 22 boats fished. We had a lot of people. I think Danielle said we had 6 or 7 boats to fish by themselves. So that's pretty cool. We had a few new anglers that fish with us. So we hope you enjoyed your time fishing with us, fishing our first ever New Year's Day event. I'm not sure if we're going to make it an annual thing, but we'll, look at the schedule and decide from there. It was just cool to get the people together. And I tell you, man, we got lucky. We went from -7 to 65 degrees on Sunday. So, I mean, me and Danielle got back to the dock about 3 o'clock, and we were sunbathing. I ain't gonna lie, taking in a little vitamin D because it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice this weekend. Like I said, though, unfortunately, I partook a little too much of the New Year's festivities.
The juice.
And was restricted to couch duty all day New Year's.
So, Geek, you were able to get back out and get a few videos in the works.
Got one out today on a snag-free finesse jig by a company that one of our show's friends, Mr. Taylor Watkins,
Yes.
he owns Omega, and they got a salvation jig that really caught my eye. And I've been catching some fish on this winter. It's pretty neat. So, it's doing real well, the video
Awesome.
right now. So, you guys make sure you get out there and check it out.
We will get it shared up on the Basscast Facebook page as always. So good to hear that. Good to hear you back out there recording and feeling a little bit better. Guys, want to talk about Wildland Coffee right there. We're gonna get him on the show. I think we're gonna get him on. We're gonna do a business show. We've never really done kind of a business show. And I met the guys from Louis Lures. It's two young men from up in a long ways away from us, but from goodness gracious, Illinois, however you want to say it. Danielle will correct me either way, because that's where she's from. So I met Louis Lures, and we're gonna get Wildland Coffee on and just talk about some baits, talk about why you should be drinking some coffee and taking some coffee out there with you, and be spend about 20 minutes with each one. I'll make a pretty cool show. I'll tell you this, guys, the Louis store. I'm getting tongue twisted tonight. Louis Lures. Those two gentlemen are pretty freaking awesome, and their story is awesome as well. Yeah. So excited to have them on here in the near future. But guys, do you ever wish your morning coffee on the lake or river was easier and better tasting? How frustrating it is when when you have to use a French press and you have to clean it up, or God forbid you drink instant coffee. That's why Wildland Coffee exists, to solve those problems. Wildland Coffee is a proud supporter of the podcast, and they are stoked to support them. Wildland Coffee puts delicious, freshly ground coffee into tea bags. You might think that can't be good. Hear me out, guys. It is actually delicious. It tastes great. All you need is hot water. 8 ounces of hot water, guys. I put 10 in mine. I'm not gonna lie. And 8 minutes, and you got some delicious coffee. Use Basscast 10 to get 10% off your first order at wildlandcoffee.co. I'm talking to sponsors this year already. If you guys would like to be a sponsor of Basscast Radio, just reach out to me. We don't charge a whole lot. Our main goal with this is pay the bills. Gets us talking to new anglers, introducing new anglers, helps Geek get some new anglers on his show. And we're all sending traffic back to the basscast.com. And that's our whole main thing behind it. And Outdoor Obsessions Radio, where you can go listen to Bass Geek as well. All his podcasts are up on there from his live, so we appreciate that. So, yeah, thank you, everyone who listens. By the way, real quick, guys, before I bring on tonight's guest, head on over to where you listen to a podcast and rate us. Give us a 4-star, 5-star, and leave a comment. That helps tremendously move us up the ranks. And that way more people get the opportunity to listen to us. When they talk, it's different if you send them the link and they go directly to it. But if they just type in bass fishing, I ain't gonna lie, we're a page below. And that ain't where I want to be. I want us to be higher up on that. So make sure you guys head on over and do that. And we haven't done this in a while, Geek.
We have not.
We have not done this in a while. And I thought kicking off 2023, hopefully we got some brand new listeners. And I looked at the numbers. We're over 200 listens an episode. And that's within the first month or so.
Wow.
So thank you. And that's been like the last 10 episodes. So a lot of you guys are coming on, a lot of new people listening. Thank you guys so much for that. Really appreciate you. We're going to go through it really quick before our guest. Spotify. Everybody knows Apple Podcast. Deezer. Google Podcast. I should have probably turned this around better. Castbox. iHeartRadio. And Spreaker. That's where the podcast is actually posted. So a lot of people ask me, where can we listen to Basscast Radio? And I'm like, there's a bunch of places. And everybody's got a Google phone or an Apple iPhone.
There you
so,
go.
I mean, there you go. Geeks Podcast is on everything as well.
There you go.
Bass Geek Radio is on all that you just saw right there. So you can go listen there as well. So thank you to Wildland Coffee. I don't have Wildland Coffee tonight. Got a little Hybo Tiger energy drink. I ain't gonna lie, it's been one of them days. But thank you to Wildland Coffee. All right, tonight we got a returning guest. We haven't had this guest on in a while. And Geek, have we had this guest on? I think we might have had.
I think we did maybe at least once.
We've done one since Geek's been
at
with
least
us.
Once.
And he's a fan of the show, a fan of what we do here at the Basscast and Basscast Radio. We got from South Carolina and heading back to another Bassmaster Classic in 2023, Mr. Brandon Cobb. You got that right. You have definitely got that right. Mr. Brandon Cobb is on with us tonight. Mr. Brandon Cobb, everybody. What's happening, brother? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks. Been a while. It's I've had a pretty slow off season.
Me and Geek were talking about that, man. It's been about a year or two.
Wasn't it right before the last
Classic?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
10 months, 9 months ish.
Golly.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I haven't. This is the first one I've done, first podcast or anything I've done this year too. It's been like a slow off season. I feel like I hadn't had much to do. Usually I'm really, really busy. Hadn't had to do much.
I'm gonna have to get his tail over on the YouTube live. I kind of forgot about that. We talked about him earlier in the year, so now I've got to make it up to him.
That's right.
Yeah,
I feel left out.
I have someone building my new website, so I've done absolutely nothing in the last month, and so I felt really like I ain't done a daggone thing, because usually this time of year we're working and updating and doing crazy stuff, but I've kind of been lazy, except for doing a show. We have done a couple episodes of the show. We kept on rolling with that, but I mean, we're putting up content, by the way, guys, and content's always going up. But for the side and the part you guys don't see, I've done nothing. And it don't feel right. It doesn't feel right at all.
I'm ready to get back after it. I'm usually happy off season about a month. I'm like, yeah, this is nice. 2 months maybe, but then by this point, it's like,
time. Yeah,
like, time. It's like the ring about what do I do with my hands?
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's like what it's like by this point.
So
I understand that.
Let's rewind again, like we always do this time of the year. We always look back at 2022 a little bit, focus on the Bassmaster Classic, and we've already told you guys we're gonna have a bunch of guests on to talk about the Classic. He's one of our Classic qualifiers again. But 2022 decent. You cashed a check in all but St. Lawrence River.
Yep. Lake Ontario gets me every time. It didn't last year. I did good there last year, but or I guess 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
This past year, man, that place gets me. Which, I mean, I had like 38 pounds in 2 days. So, I mean, it wasn't like I didn't catch some. I was just a few ounces short a day of doing okay,
He had 37.14 for 2 days and didn't cash a check. So
and might as well not went. Could have just stayed home with my 19 a day or whatever it was.
Wow.
That's crazy. Brandon, don't say that, man. Brad, don't say that, all right? Come on, man. It's not like that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like I said, other than that, you had a great year.
It was a good year.
The Classic, we've already brought up that. I mean, you did off the air. We're hoping for a good one.
Yep. I usually have a good day and a bad day in the Classic. That's what's happened pretty much. Not every time, but that's what I always have a decent day and a bad day. And this year we're going to try to have 2 good days.
2 good days. That's what
the first 2 good days to get to that 3rd day at least.
Yeah, there you go.
What do you think it is about you not putting it together? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's a mind thing, but
Well,
it's a lot going on top of the week before that.
It is. It's like an aggravating week as far as like it's hard to focus on fishing because there's so much going on. It's not really like the publicity or like media pressure and stuff, because that's never really bothered me. It's just like I never really get to focus on fishing, it feels like. It's just so much else to do. But then the one thing too about the Classic, it's in March generally. And my very worst time of fishing, like me personally, my weakest month is March. Always has been.
You know, I'll have to say it's mine too. Really.
Yeah,
I mean,
always has been. I've never been a good like that. I'm pretty good in like February, like early pre-spawn. But then when you get to that, like they're gonna spawn in 2 weeks, like real close to pre-spawn, or get that 58-degree water. I've just never been good at that. Like it's kind of my weakest time of year, and that's when the Classic is. So it kind of I got to put it together at some point.
Have you done any steps to help put it together?
I mean, I have not been up there. I did not go pre-practice or anything. I've never pre-practiced, but
I'm just talking in general. You say March sucks for you. So, I mean, is there things that you've done, off season or in the past, or, as you've grown as an angler?
Yeah. I know what you mean. So I guess it's just one of those things where we go somewhere every year, and I have done well a few times. But a lot of times we end up grass fishing and pre-spawn like that, which is kind of, I've learned, I know why I don't do well in March, but it's also why I do well a lot of other times is I move a little too fast. And then that close to pre-spawn, you get a lot of fish in one place because they're stacked up, they're ready to spawn. And I end up fishing through fish a lot. I know what I do, but then
me and you must fish a lot alike then.
Yeah.
Because I'm real bad. I'm real bad about going down the bank and you catch one. And you're like, I probably should throw back in there. Oh, let's go on down the bank.
Yeah. And March is the one time of year where they're so close to spawning and stacked up, where that's like usually you find a place. That's all you need is a place. But I tend to move a little fast. But you don't really want. I don't want to change my style of fishing because I've won a lot of money because I move fast and cover a lot of money. So it's kind of one of those things. I have to. The times I have done well that time of year, I have to think about when I catch some, like, is there more fish here or is this it? Like, I have to make a conscious effort to not fish through them.
Yeah.
So when I title this podcast, are we going to say Cobb slows down for 2023 Bassmaster Classic?
Maybe so. That'd be a good title. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I've kind of slowed down somewhat in the last year or two versus what I used to do in the Forest Wood Cup days and FLW days. And I would say it actually makes you a little more consistent, right? Slowing down a little bit. But then some of the two tournaments I won was because I was moving really, really fast. So I think it's easier to flop when you cover a ton of water and, jump all around. But you also can really hit a home run doing it.
So when you go into the Classic, how do you look at it? I mean, is it, a lot of people like going to the home run derby. It's all or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it is. But I also, the way practice works and stuff, people say like, oh, I just swung for the fences in practice or in the tournament because I didn't find anything in practice. Most of the tournaments that I've top fived or won or whatever, I didn't know I was going to win that tournament in practice. So I think that's a little bit just like excuse factor, because you try to find fish in practice, and if you don't find anything, you have to do something else. But if you find a little something, you're still going to do your little something you found, because it might be better than you think. So it's yes, that one does not matter points wise like that.
Right.
But also, you don't really treat it that much different, because half the time, I mean, any fisherman knows some of the tournaments you won, you might just thought like, oh, I found a few fish, but I don't know what they are. And then you win the tournament. So I think that swing for the fences thing, you hear people say like, oh, I just didn't find them, so I tried something different. That's a little weighted there, because I think that's like, I have nothing. So then you just go do something random. But I think everybody fishes about the same in the Classic.
Does your mindset change for the Classic? I mean, does it, like you were just saying, if you went into day one, bad practice, there's, it's besides having the Classic title, your name being written down, you fished and won a Bassmaster Classic, and everybody wants to have their cup on that, the AOY as well. But I mean, does it make you overthink sometimes the Classic, or you just fish your strength and that's it?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, the Classic, it's so like I mentioned, it's aggravating with all the stuff we have to do. Like you don't feel like you're focused on it, but it's also the least stressful tournament of the year to me because points don't matter.
Right.
You just go fish. Like if you do bad, you do bad. Which I mean might honestly be part of my problem with it because every tournament all year I'm like, I got to catch something because I'm not gonna make the Classic if I don't. And then the Classic, if you don't have that, like you're more looking to win than you don't care about finishing last like you do all season.
Yeah.
So it's just a different mentality. But it's just what people don't see than what I didn't see until I fished the Classic. You don't realize how hard it is to focus on fishing because of all the stuff going on. I'm not gonna say it's not even stress. It's not like to me, it's not anyway. It's not like pressure or media stress. It's nothing like that. It's just stuff. Like you're so busy. By the time you take off the first day, you're like, God, it's time to fish. What do I got tied on?
Where'd the time go? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it ends up being usually at the Classic.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this year, Mr. COBB, as he's always, brought up, you finished 20th in points. 589 points, which you ended up finishing 2022 with. So
top 20.
Very good year, sir.
It was good. It was real
Consistency.
Good. I don't feel like we've known each other back since FLW days. Back when I fished FLW, I very rarely ever like had a chance to win and I didn't win, but I always was consistent. And then when I switched over to Bass, I won. But then I wasn't consistent for like my first 2 years. And I feel like the last 2 years or so, I've kind of got that consistency back. Like this year, I didn't really have any chances to win, I wouldn't say. Like I had one, maybe two one top 10 and a couple close top 10s, but or top 20s maybe. But I kind of got that consistency back this year. So now I just need to put it with what I did in like 19 and 20, I had a couple of chances to win too. So it was different. This was more the year like I was used to from FLW. Like I never did phenomenal, but wasn't really in the hot seat to win. But I did have a top 10 and had a couple top 20, top 30 finishes. I guess I really don't remember exactly.
All right, I got it up, everybody, because that's what we do here. Let me ask you that before we dive into that. What do you think has helped you bring back the consistent Mr. Brandon Cobb?
Well, a lot of it comes down to schedule, man. I mean, it ends up being like you get some years I just feel like it's out of my wheelhouse in every tournament and I'm just scratching to try to get a check is what it comes down to a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, there's very few fishermen in the world that is good at everything. There's a few, but they're not everybody. And this year I really though, I just made sure I didn't make any crazy risk. Like if I just did, like if I caught a few in practice, like, that wasn't a great practice, but let's just go see what happens. Let's try to catch a few here and there, and got some good breaks this year too. Like just maybe wasn't on much and made the right decision in the tournament that worked out well. It feels a little like luck, but a lot of it just comes down to not getting stressed because you're not catching any and not doing something crazy.
You are an elite angler, because you got that behind your name, and putting that tournament together or putting that weekend together, and that does separate. That's for the Joes, the pros, Joes, whatever. That's what we always say is that tournament, the elite angler, and the reason why he's called as elite is because he's able to put that week together no matter what he finds. He's got the knowledge, the background, and like you said, a lot of time. We go the same damn lakes over and over. I mean, some of these places you've been a dozen times. I mean, and you've only fished for 10 years. I mean, so I mean that does have a lot to do with it too. But being able to lay out that week, no matter what you find, based on your knowledge as a professional angler, I mean, it does help and does pan out most of the time for you.
Yeah, it does. Well, and one thing too that I think that I've got better at and that I feel like a lot of fishermen don't do that it could help them is I've got pretty good at like, so we're no lake in specific, but just say you're at a lake, you practice all week, you don't do much. Well, you've got your strengths you grew up doing at home. Like
Right.
if you're good at fishing docks, or you're like, you know what, I'm good at, I like fishing the back of creeks, lay down, whatever you like doing. I've done well this year and these past couple of years of, I haven't exactly found what I want in practice, but I caught one or two doing this and I like to do this. I'm just going to do it because I'm gonna have fun doing it. Like it may work or it may not, but I'm going to do what I want to do. And it's a lot of times you can be fishing the worst bite on a lake, but if you like doing it and you're good at it, then you can compete with people maybe on the best bite just because you're real comfortable and good at doing it. And I've got better at not trying to do what everybody else is doing and do what I want to do. And it doesn't work every time. No, I mean, some lakes you just can't compete with your style of fishing. It's just a different, situation. But it generally, I found you're a lot more consistent fishing a crappy bite that you're good at than a really good bite that you're crappy at.
That's pretty good. There you go. Quote of the day, right there.
Quote of the day. All right, so like you were talking about earlier, Mississippi River, you finished 19th. The Chickamauga Lake, you finished 22nd, and your top best finish was on Santee Cooper. You finished 6th.
Yep.
So, and you got $19,000. So, congratulations.
Santee was a good one. That was a fun week. I think I had 80 something pounds and still finished 6th. They were biting.
Wow.
Yeah, he finished 85 pounds, 6 ounces.
And finished 6th.
Finished 6th.
They were biting.
Wow.
Oh.
It won't be, we're going back there this year, but it won't be quite that good this time. I don't know Santee real well, but it's not too far from my house. I grew up fishing a little bit. It's we're a little later this time. It won't be a slugfest like last time. It'll actually be probably better from 1st to 50th as far as total weight, but as far as the top 10, they won't be as big.
Has, since you have been in the series for a while, has the mindset helped change for Brandon? Finally settling in to the Elite Series, getting used to that change. And, it is a different organization. They do different things.
Yeah. Well, so I got to a lot of people, which it's hard to say that it took me a bit to settle in because I did win too. My best year was my first year.
Yes.
But with that being said, it was the exact same thing coming to the Elites. Back when I started FLW, you feel like you have something to prove. Like you come onto it and everybody's watching like, oh, how's he going to do at FLW? He just came from, back then he came from BFLs locally to now he's fishing pro. Is he good enough to do it? And it mentally, you think about it. Like, even if you don't mean to, you feel like you feel like you're being judged. And when I went from FLW Elites, it was the exact same feeling. And at this point, by the end of FLW, I didn't care anymore. Like, oh, if I did bad, well, you know what? I did bad in one, but it doesn't matter because I've done well in a bunch of others.
Right.
And when you do well, it's a lot worse feeling because like you don't have that credibility that you have done well. And it was the same thing when I came to Bass, but I did have my best year my first year, but it's still the same feeling. And now that's kind of going away at Bass. It's kind of, I feel more experienced, I guess, and it's just a tournament's a tournament. I don't really think about that anymore.
I don't want to compare you to anybody, but it kind of sounds like that Brian New thing. You know what I'm saying? Brian New started off. He's I've known him as long as I've known you. Very long time. And New shot out of the gate, and then it's just kind of leveled off.
Yeah.
And he's just fishing his deal, being consistent, cashing checks. And, rambling on stage, but we love him though. So
that's right. Yeah. That's the way, being consistent. That's always what I go after too. Like, and New's got that way. He's consistent now, but the chance to win a pro level tournament, it's like a unicorn. It just doesn't happen much. There's certain ones that are just your forte to win. Like the ones I won, it was just like, I feel like I couldn't have hardly lost those. Like it just, everything worked out perfect. And I think you just got to be consistent as long as possible. And then every few years, hopefully more often than that, but you just run into situations where it falls in your lap and you're going to win doing the same thing that you've done every tournament.
Yeah.
So
You'll get that shot.
yeah, that's right. You just got to try to, if you can keep yourself in that top 30 range, top 40 consistently, then you'll get your shot to win every so often.
Yep.
What's some of the
I don't think there's much of a mentality change between I want to get a top 30 versus I want to win.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's much different.
Okay. What's some of the things that has changed, as you're becoming, more of a better, well-rounded angler? And, how many years have you fished now? Good gosh.
5 or 6 at FLW? And I guess this is my 5th at Bass.
I was going to say 5.
Yeah.
5. So it's been a while.
So over 10 years of experience in front of the stage, the crowds, the whole 9 yards, and, fishing different lakes, different bodies of water all over the country. And, how's over the last 10 years, looking back, Brandon, you say, I'm a better angler now, and this is the reason why.
Well, so this is going to sound kind of weird, but it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. So when I first started, I feel like I'm closer. My style of fishing now is closer to when I first started than the middle, but I've just got better at it. So I know like midway through my career, I started like, yes, I learned a lot more techniques and stuff, but it was traveling all around the lakes I haven't seen. And at this point, I've kind of came back to more confident in what I grew up, way I fish and what I'm good at. And I kind of do it more like, I look back at all the decent tournaments I've had. Yeah, I've had a few bad ones, but all the good ones I've had are basically stuff that I like. It's just what I do. It's the way I grew up fishing around here, whether it's like, like I like to fish shallow mostly. And like, I've got a lot better at fishing deep, but like all my good tournaments is like, I've got better at what I did when I was good locally, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I figured out how to put my local expertise nationally. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. So, over the course of those 10 years, what's something that, in the bass, in the, professional bass fishing world, what's say one thing that, you think has changed for the good, and one thing that maybe has changed for the bad, or something that maybe went away that don't happen in the professional series anymore that you'd like to see maybe come back?
Good question.
So this question, there's the biggest change I see, this good, bad, like ugly, whatever, is front looking sonar.
Yeah.
Front face. So honestly, it got to the point. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. In the last, like about a year ago, 2 years ago, I was mad. Like I was like, this is not why I love fishing. I didn't like that sonar. Like, I mean, the Lowrance one's great. Like it does what it's supposed to. It's just not that type of fishing. Like I love instinct fishing.
Yes.
And I got very frustrated. I'm gonna be honest. Like towards the end of last year, not this past season, but the one before, I got pretty frustrated with it. And I started learning like this past year, and honestly, this entire off season, I've done nothing but front looking sonar fish. That's all I've done. I haven't even, if I go to the lake and it's like something else to do, like I go shallow crank or whatever, I love to shallow crank. I'm like, you know what? Nope. I'm fun fishing. I'm going to get better at this. And I've actually started, I'm not going to say I still love my old school, instinct fishing.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest change in fishing that I've seen in 2 years is like, I would say, it came out like 5, 6 years, however many years ago, but it really didn't become so dominant till the last 2 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it really like the technology is great, but it just made me not have as much fun there for a little while. But now I'm starting to figure out how to use it for my style of fishing rather than make it change my style of fishing.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's the biggest change I've noticed. That's like I've had to get used to. It's different. It definitely is. It's not.
It is.
It's not the fishing I grew up to do, but it still has the same excitement, and you can use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
With your style of fishing, no matter what style of fishing you have, you can use it to your advantage if you figure it out.
Yeah, and like they say, listen, I'll be the first to tell you. Just because you see them suckers on there, don't mean you're catching them.
No,
they do not always cooperate. And I trust me, I've sat there and threw everything in the boat, and I normally carry like 50 rods with me, so
it does. And
stinks.
when you do it for a living like I do, when something that drastic changes, and like the guys who are already like offshore fishermen, they love it. But when you had my style of fishing, it's just kind of it was frustrating for a while because I was like, the way I caught fish would have done well before this because half the checks just came on that.
Yeah.
But you just have to, you can use it for any style. You just have to figure out how to make it benefit you rather than just use it. Like at first, when I was trying to use it, I was just trying to see fish on it, just use it to fish. But you have to fish and use it to make your fishing better.
Yeah. That's something that I learned. I just, dipped my toe into that world earlier this year. And, I was really surprised at being able to see even up shallow the structure and the stuff and you're right, it's changed everything. And I'll ask you one more question that kind of follow up on that. What do you think about all these companies now? Everything's a FF sonar minnow or they're taking advantage of it, ain't they?
Yeah, I think they're just taking advantage of a trend. I think any bait can be a front-facing sonar bait if you use it for that technique. I will say though, as far as anybody listening, the way you use it, like I'm a target fisherman. Well, you can use the way I've learned to use it better is I use it to target fish. I don't pay attention to you see a fish on something, but a lot of times you can't really see it. So I use it I love to fish laydowns, docks, things like that.
Yes.
Well, I use it to see brush shallow and 4 foot rather than having to graph it and things like that. Like you just got to use it for your style. Use it to target what you want to target and find more places rather than try to find the fish. If you start chasing a fish around with it, generally you're not going to do very well. Maybe there's a few guys that probably
you're going to get caught up and then you're going to waste a whole day.
That's right.
I'll tell you
a lot of we've had people, I don't want to break you in, but we've had people on this. We've had people on the show talk about that where they have wasted a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
You're staring at that thing. We're going to need chiropractors and boat repair people on there pretty soon. Can I get a massage? My neck hurts. I don't know why.
Yeah, it does.
Listen, I never had neck problems until I started the Mickey rig fishing down on South Holston because she's like this all the time. I'm like, man, I got to get one of those things that raise it up. So I'm like this.
There's a couple brands that make one to lift it up there.
There are.
I haven't done that yet, but
I got to get one, man.
what I've actually do quite often when I'm using now, I've got a little better at using it and knowing what I'm looking at and not letting it kill my time. But like towards the early this year, what I would actually do is I would practice without it on, and then once I found fish, I would turn it on to catch them better.
Oh, that is smart.
Good
and that it kept you from getting on that wild tangent. But then I would catch a few more fish throughout the day generally in the tournament, depending on the style of fishing you're doing, but I would generally catch a few more because of it.
So I'm lucky. I'm one of those ledge guys, down on around the Tennessee River.
It didn't change your style much. It didn't change your style much.
It didn't change my style much. I don't live like I live the most, Northeast Tennessee, Bristol area, Kingsport, Johnson City, Cherokee, South Holston, Douglas are my 3 homes.
Yeah.
And so, they're super deep fisheries.
Yeah.
And
you always fish offshore.
Yeah. It's, my home lake, South Holston. I mean, if you don't start in 20 foot of water there, you just might as well not even start, most of the year. So I was joking with somebody one day and they were like, yeah, man, God, we can finally target those suspended fish. I was like, hell, far, buddy, we've been targeting suspended fish for 30 years.
Now you just catch them better.
Now you ain't taking 30 minutes to fan cast.
No, I'm actually, I think y'all know, I'm the assistant coach for the college fishing team here in Greenwood, Landon.
Yes.
And that's what I've been a lot of the kids that I kind of help and talk to a lot on the team. It's actually amazing to me how I'm not going to say a lot of the younger high school anglers and college anglers, not they're not bad fishermen, but they only know how to fish due to that. That's what they do. And which isn't bad. That's just their strategy. That's whereas I used to learn to fish shallow cover. That's the way I started and didn't know how to use a graph. They know how to use a graph, but don't really fish shallow. And I've been trying to get a lot of them to practicing wise. And when they're on a lake, not turn it on and learn and fish without it and then use it to add to their, realm of fishing to be able to
right. Just another tool.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just that's the new style of fishing. Is a lot of the younger guys. That's just what they do. I mean, and they're good at it. They beat a lot of old school guys on lakes that's just what they do. Yeah. And so, but I definitely think you got to be good at that shallow water, fishing whatever. To then, if it's not working, you got to know how to catch a few doing that.
Yep,
that's awesome. All right, so we've talked about already the 2023 season, highlighted a little bit, guys. February the 16th to the 19th, it kicks off on Lake Okeechobee, and then we slide on to Lake Seminole, February 23rd through 26th, still staying down in Florida. And then we head on up to Tennessee for the Bassmaster Classic for the 24th through the 26th, and then Lake Murray the 20th through 23rd of April. Santee Cooper in April 27th through 30th, Lay Lake in May 11th through 14th, the Sabine River back there again.
I love that place.
What's that?
I love that place. It's so much fun.
Which is why I highlighted it. June the 1st through the 4th, and then to Lake St. Clair, man. We'll go wrap it all up July 27th through the 30th, and that is the 2023 Bassmaster Elite schedule. We've highlighted on the Classic a little bit. I think he stole Brian's new shirt this year. Says, "Please don't suck."
I think Brian New stole my motto of that.
Here we go. Here we go, everybody.
I've never actually told him that, but so for about 10 years. I've always said that. They're like, "You're gonna win." I'm like, "I'm just not gonna suck."
Yeah, there you go.
And at Falcon, I told one of there's a boat tech there named Opie. He's the one runs the shop, runs everything there, and he'd always call me for 5 years and be like, "How you gonna do? I'm not gonna suck, or just don't suck." And then then Brian New switches to Falcon, and then he's got that motto. I'm like, "Wait a second."
Somebody must have said something back there.
He was listening. He was listening on ears. What it was.
I don't know if he did or not, but that was always my motto.
Wow, that's funny. So, besides the Sabine River, what else are we looking forward to, man, in this year? Is there something? I mean, besides winning a Bassmaster Classic,
Lay Lake, Alabama. That one, that'd be a cool one. I like those type fisheries, and I don't have a lot of experience on, to be honest. All those Coosa River type lakes. Yep. I don't have much experience, but every time I've ever been to one, I like fishing them. It's fun. So I'm excited to go there. And Seminole, I haven't done well at Seminole, but I like fishing it. But I've only fished it, so it's actually weird. I have a ton of experience on Seminole, but it's all in October. When I used to fish the BFLs before the FLW tour, our regional for Savannah River Division, I bet I've been to Seminole 7 times. I've been there a bunch, and I'm kind of excited to fish it that time of year because it sucks in October. It's terrible.
In February.
But it might be good that time of year. So I don't know. That would be cool. But I actually really like the schedule next year. I feel like it fits my style. At least all the Southern tournaments fit my kind of shallow water power fishing type style pretty good. And then we got the Northern tournaments, but they're always out of the Northern fisheries. My track record's hit or miss up there, and St. Lawrence River is the only one that I really I'm kind of worried about, to be honest. But St. Clair, I like that place for some reason, and Champlain, you can catch largemouth and smallmouth there, so I love it. You can do whatever you want. So that the northern swing's pretty good next year. So it's actually, since I've been fishing bass, next year is, I could have my worst year ever. Who knows? But it's one of my favorite schedules we've ever had.
Nice.
All right, you guys heard it right here. All right,
so it'll be good.
So I do want to go back to the Classic real quick. So now that's on Fort Loudon. Knoxville's my town. What's how do you feel about that place, man? I'll tell you how I feel. It sucks. I hate that place. But if I'm gonna fish it, I'm either going to Watts Bar or I'm going to go locking on down the chick.
Yeah,
and you got Teleco, so you got both.
Yeah.
I concur with you that the fishing quality is probably not the greatest.
Yeah.
I've only been one time. We went in like late February 2 years ago. And I did pretty well. I think I finished like 15th, but it was a tough tournament. And I actually am excited for the Classic there, though. It's not, yes, the fishing, it's not going to be a slugfest by any means.
No, it's going to be a grind.
Yeah, it is. But I kind of like it. Like, I feel like our Classics have usually been, they're pretty, I'm not going to say they're slugfest, but they're biting tournaments. Yeah, and that one's not really, I mean, it's getting late enough in the year where everywhere in the South, it's going to be pretty decent.
Yeah, they're going to start. They're going to start.
Yeah, but it's I'm excited about it. I think it's one of those tournaments where I like the tournaments where everybody in the field not gonna catch a limit, if that makes sense. And that one might not be like that. It might late March, it could be talking about then.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite seasons was the COVID season. And the reason why is because you guys did get to fish into the fall, some of the toughest fishing of the year in the summer. Yeah. And that's I always used to make this joke when they resurfaced Bristol. Like, everybody's like, well, it's more racing now. I said, yeah, but I don't want to see them be able to drive on a glass slick track. They're the pros. I'm like, if you're going to have a glass slick track, throw some pigs out there or something for them to dodge.
See what they can do.
Yeah, I want to see what you guys do that make you pros. Because I know on those days and, in those tough times, I normally lay a goose egg. So, I get to learn from you guys and see how.
And that's what I'm excited about the Classic, which late March, I mean, they might be biting. It could be pretty warm. Yeah. It could be cold still. You really don't know. That's the good thing about late March.
That's true.
So, but if it's still cold and they hadn't really moved up that great yet, like it could be tough. And that's what it was. Last time we were there, I think we had 46-degree water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 47-degree water. And it was pretty tough. But I think actually you're the stats guy, but I'm pretty sure I caught 7 fish in 3 days and finished 15th in that last one.
What?
Like, like it was bad. But granted, right. I had three for 15 pounds though. One day or 14 pounds or something, but but I like it. Like I really like that place. Like to me, that place fishes a little bit like Chick that time. You said this year, we went to Chick a little earlier this year, and I did pretty well there. I don't love Tennessee River lakes in general, but that's the time of year that I don't hate them as bad. Like I would much rather them be kind of the scattered shallow fishing than it is when you get to May and June when they're grouped up big and stuff. That's my favorite time of year to fish any of those lakes.
And everybody's boats are just tied up together.
Yeah. You might as well just fish out one boat so you can cast the best.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But no, it's the Classic will be cool up there. I think it'll be unique. And Knoxville, so what a lot of the fans, everybody doesn't see, for us anglers, the Classic, a lot of times, like in Texas the other year, we went we had like an hour and a half drive in the morning, 2-hour drive in the mornings and afternoons. And then Hartwell this past year, it's only like an hour, but it's still exhausting. And at least Knoxville's a good place because we're taking off there, putting in there, like everything's right there together. So
we the guy locally we call Knoxville Knox Vegas. So I do love
Knox Vegas.
I do love Knox Vegas. It is my town. That is probably the majority of my YouTube people, man, they're down there, and I love each and every one of them. So it's a fun place.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a cool tournament. It'll be fun. It'll be good fans, good turnout for the expo, and it'll be fishing I like. Like it's not going to be like you catch a good fish, it's going to make a big difference. You get a kicker every day versus tournaments where it's ounces separating 30 places. It won't be that. So it'll be cool.
What you think it's going to take to win?
Oh God, I got no idea. Dude.
It just depends on the weather. And in March, man, it can go. Listen, it could be snowing. Like snow.
70 degrees.
Yeah, or 70 degrees. He could go.
That fishery though, anytime, I think if you get 15 pounds, 15-ish, 17-ish a day, you're doing really good.
Yeah,
I would say. Like it could take a little more, it could take a little less, but somewhere around there. It's not a big fish fishery, but 17 pounds is a pretty good bag.
Yeah.
Actually, Brandon, we were talking about this earlier. This is your 5th year this year because your first full year on the Elite Series was 2019.
Yeah, I fished 4. This will be my 5th.
Yeah.
Probably. Yep.
Yep, that's right.
One thing, one stat I was looking at the other day, somebody sent me actually. I think I need to win about $40,000 or $50,000 this year, and I'll be at $1 million in my
Wow.
career. So that's what our first goal is of the year.
Yeah.
That's awesome, brother.
I mean, it took 10 years to do it. So is that good? Debatable. But
We're not gonna do the divide. It's like when I sold cars back in the day when I was in like right out of college, and I sold cars, and I sat there one day and I sat there and did the math. I was like, okay, so I sit on this lot for 9 hours a day.
It's made 30 cents an hour.
And it's 6 days a week. And I bring home about $1,800 a month.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah. Now you gotta think this was 93, guys. Some of you guys were born, some of you guys weren't born, but this was in the early 90s, and it still is like, holy crap. I added up all the hours, like I should just go to work for McDonald's and be done with this crap.
Yeah, at least just work your normal 40 hours and
be done.
Yeah.
So Brandon, Dave, man, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you for talking with us tonight. Do we have any newsworthy before you go for 2023 that you might not have let out of the bag? We got a new sponsor. We got anything new?
I don't actually. I pretty much have all the same companies I've been working for, but I did kind of switch one thing up that I'm really excited about that I've been using. I actually haven't released on social media that I'm using yet. And you'll be the first one to hear it, is I will be using Arc Reels next year.
Ooh,
the new Gravity Reels. So I've been testing them for a few months, and I think I'm going to, because I've always used the rods, Yeah. But switching over to the Reels this year, and they're pretty sweet. So that's really my only change.
Right. Okay.
So,
that's awesome.
But no, I'm pretty excited about them.
All right, guys. Follow him on social media. We always talk about that. Brandon Cobb, COB, the double B, as our Canadian friend always highlights. Make sure you guys follow him on social media. Follow his journey in 2023. And brother, we appreciate you coming on. And me and Geek both will see you in March.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. It's always a good time. I enjoy it every time.
D, we love you and we appreciate you, and thank you and like I said, we've known each other since FLW. So I mean,
first year, second year. Nobody knew me first year. I did nothing first year. Nobody wanted to know me.
Then he years later he rolls around. He falls off the boat and got a cast, and it's been a journey.
10 years, a lot happens in 10 years.
A lot happens in 10 years. Appreciate you guys. We'll be right back. All right, guys, really appreciate Mr. Brandon Cobb for coming on Basscast Radio tonight. Special thank you to him. And like I said, we got some more shows lined up. We're going to be talking to some more anglers over the next few months who are participating, in the 2023 Bassmaster Classic. And for you guys also, Wild West starts the end of the month.
Wow.
Yeah. So Wild West starts at the end of the month, their first tournament. Like Geek said earlier, you guys make sure you check him out at Expos. I will not be making it to Tennessee because I am going to Angler's Choice. I am going to the Journey Expo open house for their brand new location, our kayak sponsor, which is next weekend, guys. So if you fish out of a kayak or you've never fished out of a kayak and you say, hey, I'm interested, then I'll have everything up on the website. I'll probably shoot a crazy video. But we'll be at Journey Outdoors for the day for their brand new location. And come on out, meet us. I have copies of the schedule for this year with me. Danielle made a cool little postcard. So I'll have that. I'll be up there with that. And then a week after that, I have a wedding. And I'm going to try to sneak off and go to Richmond. And then, like I said, Angler's Choice at the end of the month. And then I don't know what else after that. Here at the basscast.com, we do it month by month by month. Because it gets crazy here over the next few months. It's, it's almost like NASCAR. You ever thought, it's like NASCAR's like, all right, it ended. 3 weeks later, the award ceremony.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, they're testing again. Boom, they're racing again. So, it's the same way. like Cobb said, we're off, but we're not really off a whole lot because
Yeah.
we're all preparing for the next year. That's our budgets, sponsors,
Yep.
new sponsors. We hope we got some new sponsors coming on as well. We dropped the sponsor. So, I mean, it's one of those deals. New giveaway sponsors. I'm working on that for you guys because I like cycling through. I don't want to be giving you guys away the same thing each and every year. So we're working on that. So we're back to work for you guys and keeping the lights on here at Basscast Radio and the basscast.com. So, but thank you guys all. Have a great week, everyone. As always, please, please, please wear your life jackets anytime you are out on the water and the big motor is running, as always. So thank you for listening. And guys, make sure you head on over now and hit the button for Geek. Head on YouTube to the Bass Geek channel. Hit the button, hit the thumbs up for notifications. That way, every time Geek drops another tip, another technique, another box opening, whatever Geek wants to put up here for you guys to help you guys become a better angler, you won't miss an episode. So appreciate you. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you, Geek. We will be talking to you next week.
Appreciate you.